Hi guys, welcome to Speculation here on YouTube. We are back out on the streets of Washington tonight, doing a little bit of follow-up work. There's been a lot of interest and intrigue around the video that we posted last night, actually two videos, showing, I guess, several hours of explosions going off at the FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C. Of course, we live in the heart of Washington, D.C., and obviously this was quite jarring and alarming to folks who live in this part of the district. Also has generated some buzz and alarm from folks online who are concerned about what this is, both from sort of a safety standpoint and, other standpoints. So we are back out again anyway, and we're going to go try to check things out and see if, number one, any of this is still continuing, which I don't think it is, but we got to make sure. And then, obviously, beyond that, try to sort of make some heads or tails out of what all of this was that was going on over the course of the last 24 hours. I don't know how long the explosions happened for. I don't know how long they went on for at the FBI. Obviously, they were going on continuously for the 2+ hours that we streamed last night. Anyway, welcome to Land Speculation on YouTube. If you are just joining us out of the gate, welcome to our stream tonight. If you wouldn't mind, as we get started here tonight out live on the streets of Washington, please do drop a like on the video. I do appreciate that. Those help us out with YouTube. Make sure you get subscribed to our channel too. If you're not already subscribed to our channel, I do really appreciate that. Please, in addition, check our description for links to our Discord and our Duck Fund. The Discord, of course, is our 24/7 chat platform. If you haven't joined that yet, I would recommend it. It's a great place to chat with people and sort of figure out what's going on generally in the world. And you can chat about heavy stuff and light stuff there. The description also has a link to our Duck Fund, which is our PayPal link. People want to help support our stream. We are in the vicinity here of the FBI headquarters now. In fact, it is looming right over our heads right now. This is the FBI headquarters. So we're going to do a little loop to see if the corner that was having the explosions last night is still having them. Anyway, guys, it is good to see you all here with us. Vinyl, Jeanette, Jay, Quiet Castle, Holly, Moniker, GH, Michael Frankowiak. Let's see, Karina Montgomery, James, Dexter. Let's see, well, who else is here? Lots of folks here tonight, guys. The Swiller is here. Looks like Karina, Quiet, Bequeathius. You guys might have been the medal winners here tonight. Anyway, glad to have people with us here. Again, we're live on the streets of Washington here tonight, doing a little bit of follow-up due diligence work here, based on kind of everything that went down last night. James Dean, hi James Dean, and Linny, hi Linny, Big Dog. So anyway, the streets of DC fairly quiet late at night, generally speaking. There's not a ton of activity on the streets. At least that's a good thing when there isn't, because a lot of activity would be sometimes alarming. So quiet nights in DC are generally good nights. So anyway, here we are out and about, just trying to do some follow-up work. Once again, if you missed our videos last night showing some of the explosions going off at the FBI headquarters in DC, that was fairly alarming. We still don't know for sure what it was. We think it was probably an HVAC or mechanical issue. It is not one that I have ever heard quite happen like that before. It obviously is a massive building, so it is possible, I guess, when things go awry with the building systems, you can have some pretty loud things happen. But it certainly sounded like, it sounded like cannon fire or something. It was very strange. For those of us who live in DC, there's a giant pile of ice. Anyway, it was very alarming. So, obviously there are a lot of businesses in downtown DC. There's also a lot of residences. So people who live here, certainly very jarring. A couple of residences almost immediately next door to the FBI headquarters. Okay, guys. Sherry Blossom says, I was thinking electrical box. It could be. Vaughn was asking, no news about it anywhere. I did not see any. I really didn't see anybody report it other than our live coverage last night. I saw people talking about it on Twitter, but it was basically all in reference back to our footage. And, I promise you, I didn't make it up. You guys saw the videos for yourselves. Like, that was happening. Anyway, I don't know what to make of it. I'm sure you guys are all trying to digest it too. Let's see. It is 64 degrees. It's warm, a little warm tonight in DC. Kind of just like mild temperatures, I would say, all around. And so far the scene is pretty normal, as you can see. I can hear, like, we're not hearing anything abnormal tonight. So from that standpoint, I would get, like I said on the stream last night, with stuff like that going on, there's no way they would have let that continue throughout the course of a workday. So I don't know what they did between when we streamed and, presumably when the workday started today, if it in fact has stopped. But I guess they figured out how to make it stop. But we'll find out for sure here in a few minutes. People hypothesizing, was it something sinister? Obviously it's coincidental that this was happening right at the same time that, there's obviously been a lot of news about the FBI, some of it not the most flattering. There's obviously a lot of controversy right now surrounding, Donald Trump and, some of the activities of the FBI back in 2016, surrounding some of the investigations around Donald Trump. I have to probably believe that's just coincidence. There's nothing really more sinister to it than that. Kim says there are no coincidences. I think there are some coincidences. I don't think there are no coincidences. Some things just happen incidentally, but I guess cosmically there's some kind of order to the universe sometimes. You can get your free COVID vaccine. Okay, guys, did I bring my drone for exclusive coverage, GH? You know what we did, guys, after we streamed last night? We did go and check out a rooftop just to see if we could see anything more from, that kind of perch. And the thing about DC is basically all the buildings are about the same height. And, for that reason, it ends up, you don't really have much of a view from any building because they're basically, you can just kind of look out and see basically the HVAC boxes of the tops of the other buildings. So even though we were only a couple blocks away last night, we really couldn't see anything of particular note. We saw some of the poofs of smoke. It's amazing how even only a few blocks away, you couldn't hear really much of anything. I guess these big fortress buildings just kind of block out that noise. But that was the deal. Let's see, guys. By the way, as we were walking through DC here in the downtown area, we are walking by Ford's Theater, which is obviously the location where President Lincoln was killed in 1865. It's literally right in front of us. It's one of the cool things about living in DC is, quite literally this kind of history is like right in front of you all the time. So this is Ford's Theater where John Wilkes Booth shot Abraham Lincoln in the balcony of the theater. The theater has basically been preserved in, I guess for posterity. They built a second theater next door, which is basically where the actual shows happen now. But the original theater here where Lincoln was killed is basically still here. And across the street is the house where after Lincoln was shot, they took his body and they took him to a second floor bedroom. And that's basically where he lay as he was dying for several hours. There's a little plaque there for the bedroom, second floor, where Lincoln, in fact, was ultimately perished. There's a little silhouette of Lincoln, and there's a little gift shop next door, which is kind of a weird thing. Can you go into the theater where he was shot, Karina? I believe they do tours, Karina. I have not actually taken one of those tours. So I actually have not been in the theater where he was shot. But I think you can. HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning is the deal. That's what that stands for. So, yeah, again, the streets are fairly quiet tonight. We're not hearing the kinds of noises we were hearing last night. I'll say that, at the very least. You know, it's quiet, much quieter than it was last night. You know, the noise didn't travel very well, but it's still much quieter tonight than it was. Let's see, somebody was asking why were we running at the end of last night's stream. We actually weren't running at the end of last night's stream. People were alarmed. You know, when we have events like that happen on our streams, you know, generally we just stream until the phone runs out. And there is like a second or two of that stream last night where it looks like something happened and we were running. But actually, I think that's basically an optical illusion, that we were basically just checking the phone and then taking a few steps to kind of reposition ourselves. So we really weren't running. So if that was alarming to people, my apologies. Once again, you are watching Land Speculation here on YouTube. We are doing a little bit of follow-up work here in the vicinity of the FBI headquarters in DC, where, again, last night we were reporting and there were loud explosions going off for over 2 hours while we were live off of the roof of the FBI headquarters, and we don't know what they were. And there's been a lot of interest and chatter about that online today. Again, we think it was probably just a building systems or HVAC issue, but you know, you never know. And people obviously have been a little concerned. Again, the FBI has been in the news for some not so savory reasons lately. And you know, I saw some pretty kind of out there posts talking about the, you know, were they like destroying evidence or something? Almost assuredly not. But you know, I guess I get why people are always a little suspicious of things the government does. Explosion suggests something actually blew up, says Jay Luther. I'll tell you, they sounded like cannon bursts last night. Someone could have very easily just turned the boilers off. D Green, that's interesting. I mean, why did nothing get done about it? Like while we were out, I presume that, you know, had that gone on into the workday this morning, that would have gotten a lot more attention. I think part of the reason it didn't get picked up by anybody was that, you know, at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning in Washington, D.C., there's not a lot going on. By the way, in front of us, you can see the tower there. This is the hotel, now the Waldorf Astoria in D.C. This used to be the Trump Hotel. It's heard about the famous Trump Hotel in Washington. This is the Trump Hotel, or at least it was the Trump Hotel. The Trump organization's lease on that particular building basically is no more. They sold their lease, I guess, to this new hotel operator. So that is now the Waldorf Astoria. But for a couple of years there, you know, the 4 years of the Trump administration was very, very, very active on a regular basis. So we're on literally the same block where we were listening to some of this happen yesterday. Cherry Blossom, I want to stay at one of those hotels. It's better than my apartment. Yeah, it's going to cost you like $700 a night, though. It's very expensive to stay at the Waldorf Astoria. It was even a little bit more when Trump was there. So, you know, this is where this was happening last night. And I'll tell you, there are not explosions going off tonight. This is actually pretty darn quiet here, you know, as we speak. I'll try to across here and get a little bit better view. We're, by the way, right on the edge of Pennsylvania Avenue, which is the Avenue of the Presidents here in Washington, D.C., where the inaugural parade happens every 4 years. It is kind of an oversized, wide street because of security concerns. They want to be able to drive the motorcade down the middle and then have the crowds off to the side with some distance in between. So it has basically more lanes than it needs. But even here at 2 in the morning, it's pretty quiet. We're going to cross though, and you're going to get a glimpse of the Capitol building down the street here. Let me try to clean this lens off a little bit. If that helps us a little bit, be able to see the Capitol down there. We're looking basically halfway down between the Capitol and the White House behind us, Capitol ahead of us. How many of these buildings have nuclear fallout shelters do I think, says Kobo Bunny. Honestly, Kobo, I'd imagine they probably all have something like that. I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting question. This is the Department of Justice, by the way, the DOJ. And right across the street from that, we have the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS, here at 1111 Constitution Avenue. So this is the IRS headquarters. This is the Department of Justice over here. And then this is right across the street. It's interesting placement of those buildings. It's interesting that the DOJ and the FBI are literally across the street from each other. I don't know if there are any connections between the two of them. But this is the FBI headquarters that we were observing last night. And it is this corner of the building where there were loud explosions happening. Simon says the blasts and smoke appear to be coming from the elevator shaft, the taller part of the building. I don't know if that is actually an elevator shaft or not. But you're right. I mean, that is kind of part of the building where these explosions were happening. They were basically, just loud blasts that sounded like fireworks or cannon blasts every 10 or 20 seconds for several hours. Every time they'd happen, they would be followed by a big poof of white smoke. Sort of unclear if it was smoke or steam. Briefly, I thought it felt like we smelled smoke, but I wouldn't bet my life on that. Anyway, this is where it was happening, and it's quiet now. So, if you were concerned that this was still going on, whatever it was, they seem to have been able to clear it up. There are still some FBI police cars surrounding the building. I assume that's kind of a normal thing at the FBI building here. Looks like there are 4 over on this side of the building. The building itself is a fortress. I mean, it is a real fortress. It is a giant, brutalist building. It fills out an entire large DC city block, which is, it is very large. You can see this is the south face of that building. It is, and there are some lights in it today, more than there were last night, actually. And then this is the western face of that building. That's the lay of the land here. It's basically a big kind of donut building. There's a courtyard in the middle, and actually when you walk by some of it, you can hear a waterfall or a fountain in the middle of the building in the courtyard. It's a big concrete structure. The ground floor is basically, there's nothing street facing except for one little lobby right over there. It's kind of weird in the middle of the city to have basically an entire block where there's nothing, like no retail, just nothing, no lobbies, nothing that fronts the street. And it's just surrounded by these big planter boxes and basically impenetrable to like an ordinary person. They do have a couple of places where they're heavily secured parking garage entrances where you drive down underneath the building. And while we were out here last night, there were a couple of cars that went into those parking garage entrances. Anyway, this is the view here. Don't breathe the yellow steam, says MC Mac. There's people that say they thought some of the steam was yellow when we were out here last night. I didn't observe that per se. FBI headquarters finished being built in 1975 at a cost of $126 million. Coincidentally, the DC Metro, the big underground tunnel system with the trains, it's the subway system here in DC, was finished in 1976. Let's see. ADSU. I figure out what your username actually says. Regardless of what the sounds were, they lasted 2 hours and they were loud. How on earth did the local news not even mention it? I'm sure multiple people had to call it in. I'm sure that's the case. I mean, again, when we look like next to the FBI headquarters over here, this is literally a residential building over here. Um, and I can't imagine what it was like for those people that lived in that building. You know, DC is a city where people are always on edge anyway. I mean, because stuff happens here, like, you know, stuff that doesn't end up being national news, but you get little events, you know, little threats, um, you know, active shooter things that happen in downtown DC from time to time, and people are pretty on guard about it. Like, people can be a little jumpy. So I can only imagine that if you were living in that building, and you were hearing literally from the, you know, interior of the FBI headquarters massive explosions, that would be fairly concerning. So I would guess they got some calls. A few people said they called in and that they basically, you know, just kind of got the runaround or were told that nothing was happening. Anyway, you'd think they'd have done a press release to let people not worry about the event. James Dean says, you know, James Dean, I would have thought so too. I would have thought a press release would have been in order. You know, just particularly for the residents. Like, there are tens of thousands of people that live in downtown DC that would have heard this last night. And, you know, we were told when people called in that basically they were told, you know, they were assured that, you know, no such noises were happening. And, you know, I can't corroborate that myself, but that does, you know, that's like, if that's what people are being told, like, that's just obfuscation. It was not a recording, says Chair. Yeah, it was definitely not a recording, guys. By the way, guys, you are watching Land Speculation here on YouTube. We are back at the FBI headquarters tonight. All quiet on the Western Front here at the FBI headquarters. DC police car just drove by. You got a few FBI police cars in the vicinity, but otherwise, you know, it's quiet here. You know, if you are just joining us, though, I do appreciate you guys hanging out with us here tonight as we check in on this. We're going to maybe check out the White House here in a few minutes, see if there's anything going on there as well. I do appreciate the likes and the subscribes on our channel. You know, sometimes we do report breaking news stuff out of DC because we live here. So, you know, dating back to 2020 and all the protest activity and stuff that was going on then, you know, we've been covering this stuff live periodically for a long time. When we're not doing that, we do tend to do just kind of news discussions and content discussions about things. We do deep dives into things. We did a deep dive into Epstein. We did a deep dive into illegal immigration. We did a deep dive into, what do we do deep dives into? I guess guns we did a deep dive into. We did a deep dive into just Africa, sort of geopolitical status of Africa right now. So we do all kinds of stuff. So if you want to get subscribed to the channel, I do appreciate that. Nevertheless, the likes do help us out. Check our description for links to our Discord and our Duck Fund as well. Discord is our 24/7 chat platform, and the Duck Fund is our PayPal link. Check the description for both of those. Either one is open to anybody. Shane is asking, just tuning in, when did the explosions happen? As far as I can tell, Shane, it was pretty much all night last night that they were going on. And again, they were sort of happening from the rooftop here. Seemed to be happening from the rooftop. I mean, that was what we could tell from the street. I don't know if that's for sure where they were coming from, but that's what it looked like. Basically on this corner of the building. Geraldo, hi Geraldo. Okay, we got more police cars. It's kind of a regular thing in downtown DC. You get a lot of police cars just driving around. But we got, let's see, 4 FBI police cars over here. We've got another one just pulled up over here. Dexter, I like the Steam explanation, but think it was it was an intentional distraction from something else to cover up something else. Let's see. Okay, guys. Let me see what else is going on. People should go back and watch the last 2 videos you put out. Simon, it'll answer any questions they have. Yeah, we were covering this live last night, so you know, we put out 2 videos last night as we were checking some of this out, and it was, you know, it was jarring. So, you know, I guess to assuage people's concerns, if they were concerned, This was still going on. It's not still going on. We still don't know why it was happening last night and why it went on for so long with seemingly no response and no acknowledgement and no coverage. But, definitely quieter tonight. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure I get to some of your questions, guys, here in the chat. I appreciate everybody who's joined us here tonight. An unattended bag is enough to have the bomb squad called in DC, I assume you mean. Michael, hit the stream, hit the like if you do too. Appreciate that, Michael. Did the stream... Someone's asking about did it smell like weed? It did not smell like weed. I don't know. Is that a thing that they would do? Is blow up weed that had been collected? I have never encountered something like that happening. At a police evidence place. Let's see, guys. What else is going on here? 1930, they did train agents on the roof. Yeah, I mean, that was one of the hypotheses, was maybe they're doing a training exercise. A very weird thing. I mean, I assume there are FBI agents that need to know how to use, firearms and maybe even explosives. It just seems like, number one, that would be a very weird thing to be doing at 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning. It would also seem to be a weird thing to be doing here at the headquarters in downtown DC, as opposed to it's some sort of remote location in Virginia or Maryland, because again, people live down here. There are obviously other offices, and you wouldn't think that they would do that kind of thing here. Now, you never know. There might be some other explanation like that. They kind of exist independent from the city. Let me see here, guys. Somebody tagged me here. Let me see what they were saying. Could have been a training exercise for terrorism or war. I mean, it could have been, Kobo. I mean, it's possible. Like I said, it just seems like that's weird to do that at 3 in the morning and do it here, downtown, as opposed to at some remote location. But, the FBI has been working very hard the last several years to get their headquarters moved from downtown to a more remote location elsewhere, outside the district. And, that could maybe be a reason why, I suppose, that, they want to be able to do more exercises where they don't have to disrupt the entire city in order to do them. Someone said FBI attempting to shoot down Chinese or Iranian drones. Tim. That would seem unlikely, but possible. Austin says, hi, Washington. Let's see, guys. Okay, people are clamoring for us to make a move here. Obviously not a ton going on here at the FBI headquarters. Do people want to see should we either stay here? Do people want to go down to see the White House? It's not super far from here. Do people want to go down and see the Lincoln Memorial? Those three options here out of the gate. I suppose we could also go to the Capitol building. But I'm curious, guys. For those of you watching, we want to sort of check out what else is going on in D.C. here. As far as I'm aware, explosion elsewhere in D.C. So Michael says White House. Wonder Woman says White House. Okay. Deplorable says White House. Yeah, I can't do a poll on these outdoor ones, quiet. What about the Washington Monuments, says Kobo? We can do all three of those, actually. Okay, guys, I'm gonna go do maybe all three of those if I can here tonight. So let's take a little walk. Anyway, again, this is the FBI headquarters here in the heart of DC. This is where the explosions were going off last night. Nothing brewing tonight. So seems pretty quiet, and that's, I guess, a good thing. We still don't have answers on last night. All of these buildings, by the way, here in the heart of Washington that are big federal buildings, again, we're walking our left is the IRS headquarters, but all these buildings are surrounded by these big planters that are basically security apparatuses, preventing, or at least intending to prevent people from being able to drive, big vehicles into a building or something. There's a lot of security stuff here. And we are passing again the Waldorf Astoria here, which is the formerly, Trump-operated hotel. Okay, let's see. Guys, thank you for joining us. Mike says, I'm nuts for walking around DC after dark. Well, I need you guys to be the eyes and ears here. You got to keep your wits about you in any big city late at night, obviously. So, you guys see anything, let me know. Do I know... The Anons are all over this, digging for anything they can find. I don't know, guys. I mean, I don't really have any answers for you, so you're going to have to... If anybody does know anything, let me know. Let's see, Kobo. Any apprehension about what is happening in Ukraine? What will Putin do next? So, when we're not covering things like this very mysterious set of explosions in DC last night, we do nightly live streams, and we've actually done a lot of deep dives into Ukraine. Obviously, a lot has happened there over the last several days. Vladimir Putin is becoming more erratic, and erratic Putin who's desperate and, depending on what you read, struggling a lot in this war could be dangerous. But I don't have any particular new insights that you guys wouldn't have. But curious, obviously, if anybody has any particular thoughts. Austin's family lived in DC. Okay, let's see. How old is this news, Parker? What news are you referring to, Parker? But thanks for hanging out with us here tonight. Oh, the war is 8 months, February, so 8 months, yeah. Let's see. Pressure relief valves prevent explosions, says Mike Hawk. That was very high pressure steam being released. So, Mike, it sounds like you may know what you're talking about on this. If they hadn't had that valve, what would have happened? It sounds like it was probably a good thing that, if there were actual pressure release valves releasing steam, that was a good thing that they were active. What would have happened if not for that? Okay. Yeah, guys, if you are wondering about the headline, this is a follow-up video to basically follow up on reported last night on. It seems to have gotten a lot of traction. These explosions at the FBI headquarters last night. There were several hours of basically uninterrupted explosions going off every 10 or 20 seconds on the rooftop of the FBI headquarters, so it appeared. Very, very, very jarring and loud in the streets of DC as we were going about it. Holly says, someone. Holly, what's going on? Let's see, guys. What else is going on? This is a dumb war, says Heathen. Oh, we got posted on 4chan, Michael? I saw there were a lot of Twitter posts about that video. You know, and I don't know if people were trying to figure out what the hell was happening. You know, I still don't know. So I got nothing to say definitively about it. You can surmise, and you know, usually the least extreme explanation is the correct one, but not always. Not always. Okay. Is 4chan dead? I don't know, guys. Are you guys active on 4chan? That wasn't a boiler problem, says Geraldo. Or something would have been said and something would have been done about it. That is the strangest thing. You know, that was going on for hours. And, you know, there were people going in and out, like not at a rapid clip, but a few people going in and out. There were FBI police cars out there, but like nobody's freaking out about it. At least nobody who should, you know, who you would have thought would have been freaking out about it was freaking out about it. You know, there were several perplexed passersby, people both in cars and walking on the sidewalks. Not that there were a lot of people at 3 in the morning out on the streets of DC, but there were a few. And certainly they were asking us if we knew what was going on. And I didn't have an answer for them. Okay, guys, we are cutting, by the way, through the World War I Memorial in Washington, en route to take a quick gander at the White House, if we can. Zulu, hey Zulu. April says, I thought it was odd too, no real responses except yours. Is everyone on Prozac Kool-Aid? I don't know about that. I don't know what that would be like, but that sounds interesting. People were asking about the Washington Monument. We're going to probably walk by that here in a few minutes. It is over this direction. Okay, let me see. Like an owl? I am so confused. I'm confused, Holly. Did we pass an owl? Did I hear tires screeching at one point? Could have sworn I did, but we'll have to find the timestamp, says Dexter. By the way, if as we stream I ever mess up anybody's name, it is not intentional. The way that when we're out live streaming, it's pretty hard to actually see the comments. And actually the names come in very, very, very small font. And it's like dark gray font on a black background. So if I accidentally butcher anybody's name, it is not intentional and certainly not intending to offend. So bear with us, you know, through that kind of thing. We're walking by the Treasury Department in DC en route to the White House. Again, we've been just by the FBI headquarters where last night we heard loud explosions. Quieter tonight. But you are watching Land Speculation here on YouTube. I do appreciate people watching us here tonight and hanging out with us as we check things out. We don't know what was going on last night. Seems to be quieter tonight. A lot of police cars. Seems like even for DC, a lot of police cars out tonight. But anyway, yeah, drop a like and a subscribe on the video if you have not. Those likes help us out with YouTube. Those subscribes help you guys know when we're on, and we are on pretty much every night of the regular week, covering stuff. Check our description as well for links to our Discord and our Duck Fund. The Discord is our 24/7 chat platform. People have not joined that. I would recommend it. No obligation, but it's a great place to keep up with others from our Land Ducks channel here. And then the description also has a link to our PayPal link, the Duck Fund, our PayPal link. If people want to support the stream, I certainly do appreciate those contributions very much. Let's see. I'm guessing if you see something, say something doesn't work anymore. It didn't seem like anybody was interested in hearing about it last night, in terms of the folks there. I know people called various, police and fire departments and things like that. Nobody seemed to be particularly interested in hearing about it. Let's see, are they going to let us walk through here? I guess they will. So we're going to go see the White House here. See if anything is going on unusual here. True Greenberg, explosions at FBI headquarters. Yeah, check out our last two videos if you missed them. We're covering this live last night. Karina also heard screeching tires. I cannot. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the screeching tires would have been about. Dude, this is real meme. Yes, this is real. Welcome to our stream here tonight, out live on the streets of Washington, D.C. Where again, we are following up on things we covered last night. Okay. Let me see. Is this like serious real? Yeah. Holly is freezing, but it feels good. It's actually a little warm here in DC right now. It's about 64 degrees. Just very moderate weather. Okay. Let's see. Is that Brody? Just came to your video last night. So fucking strange. Stay safe. I appreciate that, Brody. Yeah, guys, even when there's not crazy stuff like that going on in DC, it's can be a little, iffy out on the streets of DC in the middle of the night. You guys are our eyes and ears, a little bit anyway. Hopefully nothing happens that is awry. But, we're out here anyway. They probably knew what it was and didn't want the public to know, says I'm lurking. Yeah, that's a possibility. I mean, the idea that anybody in that building wouldn't have known that this was going on seems highly dubious. I mean, it was super loud out in the street. You guys heard it. And it was like rattling the windows to the point where it was literally turning on and off the light sensor or the motion sensor lights. By the way, guys, this is the White House. We said we were going to come to the White House. The White House is here right now. And Foster, I'll get to your question here in a second about the running. But we're here at the White House. And it is dark right now. You can see there's a couple Secret Service police officers there in front of it. This kind of freaked me out the first time I saw the White House dark like this. Wonder Woman's asking, why are the lights out? It's a good question. It is not anything sinister. Basically, they just turn the lights out here at the White House around 11:30 every night. The president goes to bed. And when he does, I mean, it's like actually the house where Joe Biden lives. So the second floor there is where is where Joe Biden and I guess Jill Biden live. And that's real. So they turn the lights out when they go to bed. The West Wing, which is where the actual Oval Office is located over here through those trees. A lot of people have the misconception that the Oval Office is located in like the round part of the main White House building on the back side. That is not the case. The Oval Office, despite being the same shape as that rounded part of the White House, is actually a ground floor office over on the West Wing, over through those trees. The main part of the White House is basically ceremonial on the ground floor, and then it's the residence on the upper floors, and then there's like 5 basements. And what all happens in those basements, your guess is as good as mine. I mean, there are maps of them, but are those maps telling the truth? I have no idea. There's also an East Wing, which is mainly where the First Lady hangs out during the day. And then there's the Eisenhower Executive Office building over this direction, which is where the Vice President's offices are. But yeah, why are the lights out? I mean, the lights normally be on during the day, and it would look normal. They did turn the lights out back when, you might recall, they had the giant protests out here back in 2020 in the aftermath of the killing of George Floyd here in Lafayette Park, which is just north of the White House here. This is obviously open to the public now and is fairly vacant, but back in 2020 it was just full of protesters, and it got so precarious that they basically blockaded the protesters north of the park. They're on H Street, which is the cross street up there, and there was basically several nights of confrontation between protesters who were throwing things and Secret Service and park police who were stationed in this park, basically trying to prevent anybody from making a run on the White House. And they were very concerned because there were about 10,000 people gathered out there in the middle of the night. And it got so precarious, and so many projectiles were being thrown, and so many officers were being injured, they were very worried about a potential run on the White House. So they actually turned the lights of the White House off so that their night vision goggles would work better. And it was around that time when Donald Trump, who was then the president back in 2020, was rushed down into the bunker underneath the White House, and was basically mocked mercilessly for that by many of the protesters for weeks after that. There were months of continuous protests out basically from H Street up there, and then we're looking up the street that basically was paved with lettering for Black Lives Matter, but there was a lot of graffiti, a lot of signage, a lot of people chanting back then, calling Donald Trump a bunker bitch and things like that, as well as a lot of fuck Trump and fuck 12 and stuff like that. But that was kind of a separate whole issue. The lights are out today just because it's late at night. It's 1:30 in the morning DC time right now, which means everybody's asleep. There are obviously Secret Service agents here out protecting the White House. And if you tried to jump that fence, I don't think you'd get very far. There have been people that have done that, and there actually was one guy that jumped that fence and made it all the way to the front door, slipped in the front door, went into the White House, and made his way onto an elevator before he was caught. But I don't think that's the normal state of affairs. I have actually been here when somebody tried to jump that fence and was almost immediately apprehended by Secret Service agents. You are actually shockingly close to the building here when you were up against that fence. So it's not all that far to the front door. Let me see, guys. We got several questions here in the chat. Let me try to get to some of them. So somebody's asking, why did we run at the end of last night's stream? And I explained that a little bit earlier on tonight's stream. When we have big events, and sometimes we do have breaking news events, which is a good reason to get subscribed to our channel, by the way. We live in Washington, D.C., and stuff happens here. We got an election coming up. I'm sure more stuff is around the corner. So, get subscribed. Drop a like on our video, too, if you haven't. Appreciate that. But why did we run at the ends? Because sometimes when we're streaming the live events, eventually we just stream until the phone goes dead. And that's basically what happened last night, is the phone basically died on the spot as we were following those explosions there at the FBI headquarters. And there's a couple seconds there at the end where it appears that we took off running, like something came in and spooked us. And I said, it's basically an optical illusion. I think it was mainly just grabbing and checking the phone and then taking a few steps in the other direction. But it was not, it was not like a T-Rex that jumped off the top of the FBI building or something and chased us down the street. So we are okay. People were concerned about that. Let's see. Devotee is asking about the 2020 protests here at the White House. Weren't they an insurrection? I don't know what the answer is on, definitional semantic games. Obviously, it was a very scary and precarious time in D.C. Back in June of 2020, particularly here around the White House, which is where the majority of those protests were occurring. There was a fair bit of violence and a lot of burning going on in this park behind us. That church where Donald Trump got his photo op was basically right behind us a ways as well. And there was a lot of graffiti and a lot of chanting and a lot of vitriol. And, when they would disperse the protesters there for at least about 3 nights, there was a lot of violence that took place, a lot of looting that took place in the streets of the city. Several hundred businesses got looted and then had boards up over their front doors for a long, long, long time. So, yeah, all that was happening back in 2020. Yeah, we are awake. I'm surprised we're awake. This is wild. I'm scared. Let me see. Robin. Hi, Robin. Oh, Dexter was saying we had observed a police van pulling up. Yeah, we did not get pulled into a police van. If people were concerned about that happening last night. Yeah, there was like one of those little, paddy wagon style vans that pulled up in the vicinity of the FBI headquarters last night. But they did not come after us. Nina says get some extra batteries. Often we do go out with a battery pack. And I didn't last night because we didn't expect anything to happen last night that was particularly weird. And that's the thing sometimes is, you just stumble into stuff and it, very bizarre stuff happens sometimes in the city. Maybe it's a lesson. I should never go out without a battery pack. But we tried to capture it for as long as we could. Geraldo's not buying the optical illusion explanation. Well, you caught me, Geraldo. It was actually the T-Rex. Jumped off the top of the building, started running after us, and we had to scramble, flee. Let's see. Time. Listing of those explosions last night. They were randomly spaced, it seemed. Does that support the HVAC system breaking down? It sure sounded like gunshots. It did sound. It didn't even sound like gunshots. It sounded like cannon fire. I thought when we first discovered it last night, when we first stumbled into it, that what they were doing was firing off cannons. I've heard that sound before in D.C., and it was basically when they, every time they do the inauguration, they do a 21-gun salute. Not at the FBI headquarters, but in downtown D.C. And that's exactly what it sounded like. I was like, why are they shooting off cannons on top of the FBI headquarters? There's some kind of ceremony going on. We then started thinking maybe it was like a training exercise. But I think as it went on, it was so regular for so long, I think it had to have been in the HVAC system time. And, I guess that kind of thing can happen. Attempt to overthrow the government, I don't think so, says Jay Luther. Big Dog is asking about a news story today, the racist member of the LA City Council. So I didn't actually see the comments, Big Dog, but I did see they resigned. Anyway, that is the White House, of course. There's kind of a perpetual little protest tent scene there out in front of the White House. This is as long as I've been coming to the White House, regularly for over a decade. This little tent setup of protesters has been out here. And their messaging changes periodically. It often has to do with nuclear war, and I don't even know what that sign says now. But there's always been this permanent encampment. I guess they're just allowed to be there. I guess that's, the First Amendment at work here in the United States. Jim thinks I sound like a chipmunk. Jim, how can I do better for you, man? We want to make this like entertaining and interesting for people. So, let us know. Let us know what we can do better. Are the security guys looking at you with any kind of suspicion while you're standing in front of them? Kobo's asking. Kobo, it's interesting. It is a little weird sometimes when you have these, especially done by the FBI, these police cars just kind of sitting there, and you wonder, like, are they looking at you? What do they think? Here at the White House, I think they get a little bit of everything. And I think in the middle of the night, like these couple guys, they look like they're just chatting away, like about their lives or whatever. It looks like they're kind of just bored, and I don't really think they think anything of us, because I think they get pretty much a little bit of everything down here. And as long as people aren't jumping the fence, they're good. I've only ever had a couple of the Secret Service people ever really say anything to us as we've been out streaming, and it was basically just one of them commenting on the sports team paraphernalia that I happened to be wearing over top of my duck suit that night, which is weird. They wouldn't have commented on the duck suit to begin with. But, they seem to just kind of take it as it comes and, not really think anything of anything. Meme says, I don't really like violence. It's kind of pointless. Certainly a lot of violence is, I don't know, if you're fighting for your life or you're fighting for freedom or something, maybe. Am I behind a barrier, says Robin? So, yeah, the fence there that's behind where the Secret Service agents are standing is a permanent barrier. And that's always there. These blockades here, they just kind of leave out here because sometimes they do close down this stretch of Pennsylvania Avenue. This is basically Pennsylvania Avenue. Cars are not normally allowed to drive on it, but pedestrians are allowed to walk on it. But sometimes, like when the president is coming or going, or I guess when they feel there's some kind of security threat, they will shut down Pennsylvania Avenue. And basically the rest of the time, they just leave these big barricades up here in these kind of complex formations. Obviously, it'd be very tough to jump 2 layers of that, run across here, jump over the fence, run over that. Like, they just leave these here, and there's basically openings, so you could walk, like, basically right up that fence if you wanted to. Foster, thank you for answering me. Yeah, I don't know. It's not a very exciting answer on why we ran, Foster, but that is what was going on. Leandra, I knew it was a T-Rex. I knew it the whole time. You gotta watch out. Those FBI T-Rexes can be they're very quick. They're big, they're scary, shockingly quick. Now, they don't have very long arms, so, that's, I guess, a potential advantage, but they got that giant head and the big sharp teeth. Okay, let's see. So again, we're here at the White House, Lafayette Square. We were just at the FBI headquarters a little bit ago. Along the way, we have taken a gander at Ford's Theater, where Abraham Lincoln was killed. We showed you guys the outside of what used to be the Trump Hotel. We walked through the World War I Memorial en route up here to the White House. So we've actually gotten to see a fair number of things tonight. Again, the FBI headquarters was what we really wanted to check on. Again, last night there were loud explosions there that went on for around 2 hours at the FBI headquarters. And, we took a gander. Well, we did 2 streams last night reporting on that. And that was very, very, very bizarre and very jarring. But quieter tonight. So we're continuing to kind of assess the lay of the land here in D.C. Lots of police cars here. What is going on H Street here in D.C.? We are, again, looking back toward the White House this direction. It just sounded like cannon fire. Yeah. Okay, yeah, people saying it sounded like cannons. I mean, must mean I'm behind in the chat here, guys. Let me get caught up with some of your comments. Is Chris Pratt a good actor? Holly's asking. I don't really know him from anything other than Parks and Rec. I was not a huge fan of him in Parks and Rec. He was kind of annoying, but I assume he's a talented actor. This building right over here is the bathroom pavilion that's located here in Lafayette Park near the White House. That was a building that was basically burned inside and out during the protests of 2020. It was graffitied extensively. We actually took some video while people were basically standing on top of it, and then it was burned. And it looks like they're continuing to do construction on it now. Across the street is the St. John's Church. That is where Donald Trump took his famous photo op back in 2020. And then this street over here is Black Lives Matter Plaza, which is, was declared by Mayor Bowser here in Washington back during those protests. Otherwise home to the Hay Adams Hotel, famous historic hotel where every president has stayed the night before their inauguration, and a few other famous buildings along that stretch. I don't know why there are at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 DC police cars parked out here, as well as a DC police motorcycle. I'm not going to get involved with them, but I don't know what's going on. There's always something going on. Where there's explosions at the White House, Annie, no. So Annie, we are at the White House right now, but the explosions we heard last night were at the FBI headquarters, which is, as you guys experienced on our stream, a short walk away from the White House. I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 minutes away, walk away from the White House. But White House is basically just quiet right now, and the lights are off, which is kind of an unusual look. Actually, a couple of lights came on since we turned our heads away. There's a couple lights on in the White House now, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe somebody had a bad dream. Geraldo, I didn't see any dinosaurs. Just saw the... Well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't point the camera at the dinosaur. They're notoriously camera shy, and they're probably already mad. I wouldn't want to piss them off even further. All right. Okay, guys. What are we going to do now? Mima, I like how we were talking about serial and actors while there's a massive issue in the U.S. You know, we've been doing basically nightly streams continuously for the last couple of years. We've basically been streaming since June of 2020. Not every single night, but certainly most nights, and certainly basically every night of the week since then. And there have been a lot of big, heavy, serious issues in that period. A lot of things we've been able to report on live. In the period since 2020. Every once in a while we got to lighten it up a little bit, because otherwise the world is just too depressing too often to, just constantly report all the bad stuff continuously. So, I don't know. We do some lighter stuff here too. Okay, so here we are, still in DC. Of course, we're walking along Pennsylvania Avenue here near the White House. Taylor, you're as unexceptional as anyone else I've seen over the years at 1 a.m. in that park. Yeah, I can't imagine that we would be uniquely all that jarring to the Secret Service police officers who are there. Okay. Let's see. Peaches says, thank you for the news tonight. Well, thank you, Peaches, for stopping by. What, are we going to be able to get out this way? Not sure. We'll try. a lot of caution tape blocking the ability to go where we want to go right now. That's a perpetual recurring challenge in DC, is the fact that there's always caution tape blocking the path. Christy G. Hi, Christy G. You know, guys, we do a little bit of commentary on the news here when we're out and about. Obviously, some nights we're inside and we do deep dives into the news. I mean, like deep dives. We'll do like 2 hours of continuous coverage on everything and anything that's going on. And sometimes deep dives, like we did 2+ hours on what the hell went on with Jeffrey Epstein, other things like that. So, you know, once again, get subscribed to our channel if you're not. Drop a like on the video if you haven't. A couple more likes to get to 100 here. You could be the lucky 100th like. Do appreciate that. So drop a like, drop a subscribe. Check our description for links to our Discord and our Duck Fund. If anybody wants to join our Discord, we certainly welcome people to hang out and chat with us. And the Duck Fund, of course, is our PayPal link. That is linked in our description. We certainly welcome people to contribute any or all of your money. You are certainly welcome to give us, you know, whatever percentage of your retirement account you would like. 50, 60, 70. If you feel like you have too much money, the ducks are happy to eat your money. Here is smoke coming out from the middle of the street. That is not alarming. I mean, it could be. It's not. Okay, guys. Thanks for all those likes. There's a barrage of them there. Thank you. All right. April says you're doing a great job. Appreciate it. Thank you, April. Was it Godzilla? Was it a mountain lion? Yeah, mountain lions can be sneaky scary. It's a good point, Holly. This building, by the way, is the Eisenhower Executive Office building. This is where the Vice President has their offices. That looks pretty dark right now. Only a few random windows, and I assume those are corridor windows. Okay. Robin wanted us to walk to the fence and zoom in. The White House cam is so far away. Yeah, I don't know that we would have really been able to see anything additional, Robin. You know, there were a couple of Secret Service people there, and I guess we're probably allowed to go all the way up to that fence, but anyway, we didn't. So we've stopped by the White House many, many, many times on our walks around DC over the course of the last couple of years. Today was one of the more unexceptional sets of circumstances there at the White House. Oh, sorry guys. Other people asking me to zoom in. Well, we've already kind of moved on, but let's see. Allie, so I just subbed and joined in the chat. What were the explosions all about? I wish I knew. Definitively. I mean, we can, again, hypothesize about it, but the best I can surmise, hi there, is that it was probably some kind of HVAC issue. That was a Secret Service person, by the way, that just said hi to us. Yeah, I don't know. Watch our 2 videos from last night. Again, that was at the FBI headquarters, explosions there last night. We don't know what they were. We think there was probably some kind of HVAC issue and not something more sinister, but it sure scared the hell out of people. And, you know, I don't know, maybe it was something more sinister. Very loud, cannon-like bangs continuously every 10 or 20 seconds over the span of several hours last night. Okay, T-Rexes may be quick. They carry small arms and guns too. Boy, T-Rex with small arms, and a gun would be scary. Let me see, guys. I want to make sure I don't get too far behind in the chat. I appreciate all the comments from people. Usually I try to greet everybody individually. I have not had a chance to do that tonight. So if I have not said hi to you individually or responded to your individual comments, just keep posting them. We try to be as interactive as any channel on YouTube here. So, and we're open, by the way, to basically any and all views that people have, as long as you express them respectfully and don't attack other people. We try to be pretty open-minded here and to hash out issues as best we can. So, just be respectful. We got great mods here on land speculation here on YouTube. Appreciate people making their lives easy. All right, let me see here. Okay, Maga Pablo says, thank you for posting. Well, thank you, Maga, for watching our stream. Dexter wanted to go check out what those cops were doing. The thing about the DC cops is when there are 6 or 7 DC cops gathered around in a situation like that, probably they were dealing with some kind of problematic traffic stop or something. That's not the kind of thing they're usually very receptive to people engaging them about. We got to be a little careful sometimes when we're out at this hour of the night. Holly's asking, what age do you have to be considered a cougar? It's an interesting question, Holly. By the way, we'll kind of respond to any and all questions that you have for us. The number that popped into my mind, Holly, was 40. Presumably if you're, to be a cougar, we're not going to talk about anybody who's into people under 18. That's I know that happens, but that's not legal usually to do anything like that. So, if you're looking for guys who are 20 and you're an older woman, I would say, you could sort of probably get away with that when you're in your upper 30s. I'd say at 40, it becomes kind of a cougar situation. So I would say probably 40 and above would be my guess. But I don't know, maybe there's a definition out there on Urban Dictionary. This is Putin ain't all that. Fruit Loops, anyone? I'm moderately positive on Fruit Loops. Peaches, any more explosions? We have not heard any more explosions tonight. So I was wondering if we would. Another building dressed up in Ukrainian colors. No, I have not heard any explosions tonight. Okay. Let me see, guys. Just trying to scroll through some of your comments here. They were riots, not protests, says anyone. Peaches, this is better than the live feed we were on. Well, we do the best we can, guys. This is like an amateur operation here. We got great mods who help us out with a lot of things, but we're at amateur operations, so we appreciate you guys making allowances for that. But we do try to engage with you as best we can and show you what we can from DC while keeping ourselves as safe as we can. Dexter's asking, so after the battery died last night, actually what we did after the battery died last night is we did find our way to a rooftop that we have access to, because I wanted to see, those explosions were happening on the roof there at the FBI, and I wanted to see if we could see anything from a higher vantage point. People were saying you need a drone to really see what's going on. And that's probably true. But we did find a rooftop And I went and I looked out off the rooftop, and frankly, it did not improve the view at all. We could see the smoke, we could hear a little bit of the noise, but it did not give us any additional clarity about where it was coming from or what was happening. So if it had been super interesting, I would have maybe tried to find a way to go back out and stream last night. But it was nothing particularly remarkable. So anyway, the two videos we did take over the span of a little over 2 hours last night are both on our channel if you missed them, showing the explosions at the FBI headquarters. Both shot basically from street level. I don't know if there's any real good way, unless you were like maybe in the tower of the Trump Hotel, which is not open at night, to see, really what was happening there at the FBI headquarters. What's unusual about lights being off at 2 in the morning, says Taylor, speaking about the White House. Nothing particularly unusual about that, Taylor. It's just, it's a little bit of a weird look at the White House, which you always think of as having its lights on. It's a weird thing too. Some of the monuments turn their lights off in the middle of the night as well. Explosion with no smoke or fire, says Rick. There was big poofs of white smoke after each explosion. So, yeah, I don't know if it was smoke or steam, but it was happening. Okay, this light is malfunctioning here, clearly. Let me see, guys. Meme agrees with me about something. I don't remember what I was saying when you agreed with me, but I'm glad you agree with me. Holly wants to be like Ariana Grande when she grows up. How's your singing voice, Holly? Guy. Hi, Guy. It's really hopping, isn't it, says Taylor. Well, we're now down on the National Mall, where things are pretty quiet down here. In DC, you will most likely see rats. They are huge, says Nina. Yeah, Nina, we have seen some massive rats. We caught a few of them on our streams here. In fact, last night our video was originally titled Massive Rats. I thought that's what we were going to go out and see. As it turned out, stuff happens. Nation's capital. Things change. What time is it in DC? It is about 2 in the morning right now, Annie. Holly, we're going to be doing a bracket soon. Yeah, probably next week we'll do the periodic table of the elements bracket. Been planning that for a while. Haven't been able to do it yet. We are, by the way, here at the World War II Memorial in DC now. Casey wants to go watch some ducks. So the World War II Memorial basically exists in two sides. There is this side of it, which is devoted to the Atlantic front of World War II, and then the other side, which is devoted to the Pacific front of World War II. And it's a very large memorial with pillars dedicated to those who served from each of the 50 states. Leandra wondering, was it smoke or steam? I don't know the answer to that, Leandro, when it comes to the explosions last night. Zulu wants a Bible bracket. I don't know what we would put in a Bible bracket, but if you have a particular specific idea, just things from the Bible, I suppose we could do. I suspect Jesus would win. Let me see, guys. I'm just scrolling through the comments. Sorry I can't get to every single comment that you guys leave. I do really appreciate all of them. Appreciate all the thoughtful commentary and conversation here. Again, we are just kind of checking things out here in DC. The night after explosions rocked the FBI headquarters. We're down the National Mall. As you can see, we just came from the World War II Memorial, which is back here. Washington Monument looming behind us, and the Lincoln Memorial is up ahead of us. Let's see. Can't read your username, but it starts with a CY. Anyway, what explosions? Go back and watch our 2 videos from last night. You're getting a lot of people asking what explosions are we talking about. It was pretty jarring. So go back and watch our last 2 videos. Tonight, things much quieter. Anyone, my son's a cop. He said, no way would they be shooting on top of a big building in a city. Yeah, that makes sense. You know, clearly, I don't think it was gunfire. You know, I suppose I would leave open the possibility that it would be cannon fire with like blanks in some kind of ceremonial fashion. So very weird. Yeah, so very weird. The T-Rex didn't bite me. Yeah, well, I ran, guys. You had to get away from the T-Rex. If I hadn't run, you know, things might have happened. Let's see. Godseed says, hail Satan. Hail to the chat. Sure. Welcome to our stream. Okay. Leandra, that's what got me here. I saw last night's stream. Well, you know, once again, guys, if you are joining us from last night's stream, we certainly welcome you to be part of the land speculation, land ducks community here. We do stream basically every night of the week, sometimes breaking news stuff like last night. There was always breaking news stuff going on in DC, or often is anyway. So, you know, please feel free to subscribe and join our nightly videos and conversations. You know, sometimes, again, we do deep dives into stuff. Sometimes we show you stuff live on the ground here. Again, we're here in DC. We're looking across the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool toward the DC War Memorial, which is a little weird temple thing over there. It's basically halfway between the Washington Monument behind us and the Lincoln Memorial this direction. So we're going to go see the Lincoln Memorial here real quick. Probably was something sinister. I don't know, guys. If it was something sinister that was causing those explosions last night, what do you think that would have been? You know, like, I have a hard time believing that there was some, like, you know, giant evidence destruction machine sitting on the rooftop of the FBI building, and they were just working at overdrive in the middle of the night trying to get rid of all that evidence related to the, you know, 2016 investigation of Donald Trump, for instance. You know, Hillary Clinton email stuff, just the belching out smoke from the incineration of evidence by the barrel load. I don't know, like, you know, I'm being facetious, but if there was something sinister going on, what would that have been at the FBI headquarters last night? By the way, here as we walk along the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool, many of our regulars might be curious, are there ducks here? There are not. ducks here, as best I can tell, as we walk along. Always interested to see if there are ducks. As best I can tell, there are no ducks right now in either one of the major reflecting pools in DC, which is very disappointing because we love hanging out with the ducks. King was asking about HVAC. Yeah, that seems like the most likely explanation, but I cannot say for sure. Was I there in 2021 when buses dropped off reporters at the White House in the middle of the night? I was not. If that happened, we've seen some weird stuff happening. We were not in DC for January 6th in 2021, but we were in DC in February of 2021. And that was a pretty crazy scene when they had that giant set of barricades up around the Capitol building. And they were basically like tour buses, but just loaded with like active duty military personnel within the boundary of the Capitol fencing, which was like massive there for several months. Obviously now it's kind of back to normal. We've been up in the Capitol a few times on recent streams. But there was some pretty crazy stuff then too. Nothing quite like in 2020 when the months and months and months of protests were happening near the White House, but pretty intense nonetheless. Let's see. Secret Service that far from the White House and on foot. So, yeah, we were stopped there by a Secret Service, not stopped, but he said hi to us, Secret Service guy. Yeah, they get that far from the White House because the White House grounds extend very, very, very far to the south. Okay, guys, I gotta like scroll way down here because I'm way behind on the chat. I want to make sure I'm speaking contemporarily to your comments. So I'm going to skip some of the comments, and I apologize about that. People who have made meaningful comments here in the chat. Sometimes I get so engrossed in trying to reply to the ones right in front of me that I don't keep pace with some of the new things you guys are saying. And I want this to be a conversation, especially as we're walking long distances like we are right now, getting to the Lincoln Memorial, which is looming ahead of us, as you can see. Of course, again, the Washington Monument is behind us. As we are out live in Washington, D.C., you can hear the crickets behind us. It is a cool night in D.C., and it's kind of nice down here because usually there are lots of gnats, which make walking around very unpleasant. Let's see. We need an Afghanistan memorial, Taylor says. We sure do love memorials. They just opened within the last year or so the World War I Memorial, which is kind of over that way. We actually walked through it earlier on our stream. And the memorial to Dwight Eisenhower, who was president from 1953 to 1961, finally got a memorial here in D.C. You know, we don't have anything to the war on terror, nothing to Iraq. There are several, presidents and great leaders we don't have memorials to here in D.C. Other than one little statue that we actually showed you today in front of the Trump Hotel, what used to be the Trump Hotel. There is no memorial to Ben Franklin, for instance, or Alexander Hamilton. We don't have like a John F. Kennedy or Ronald Reagan memorial. So there's a lot of directions memorials could go. Let me see. Guy saying he's been down here, but not in the middle of the night. Well, it's an interesting experience in the middle of the night. It was a very interesting experience during COVID, when all the tourists went away. It was very weird. It kind of became like our own private park. Come here in the middle of the day and there'd be nobody here at the Lincoln Memorial, which is very unusual normally. This is actually unusual even for this time of night, to have basically nobody here on the steps in front of the Lincoln Memorial as we walk our way up. If you are wondering, there are 88 steps to the foot of Abraham Lincoln here at the Lincoln Memorial. Let's see, Casey says he's fixing to get mugged. I hope not, Casey. Will the Lincoln Memorial get pulled down anytime soon? It's a pretty big thing. It's hard to pull it down. Now, there was, back in 2020, when people were going nuts over pulling down memorials, there was somebody who posted on the internet who had like a background in Egyptian studies. They posted like an 8-part set of instructions on how to pull down a giant obelisk. With a direct reference to the Washington Monument. Now, that never happened, obviously, but seemed like that would be a pretty big news story if somebody managed to successfully pull down the Washington Monument. Now, it looks like I'm trying to see, it looked like there might have been some graffiti here on the side of the Lincoln Memorial. Occasionally that happens. Robin, are you kidding me? Just in general? I mean, sometimes we make jokes here, but usually we're pretty straight with you. Okay, let's see. So, we just made it up the steps here. Godspeed, subscribe because we're up at 2 a.m. Yeah, it's now 2:15 here in DC. Anyway, this is the view from the steps here of the Lincoln Memorial back down National Mall. Of course, this is, when Martin Luther King Jr. gave his I Have a Dream speech, he stood at a podium here, kind of in this area, and looked down the mall, which was full of people at the time. So, pretty vista there. Of course, this is the memorial itself. These very large Doric columns. And this is the temple honoring Abraham Lincoln. There is the giant Abraham Lincoln, 16th president of these United States. And he is very large. I didn't realize he was actually like 23 feet tall, but apparently he was. Very big feet, too. It's very sinister there on his throne. In this temple, as in the hearts of the people for whom he saved the Union, the memory of Abraham Lincoln is enshrined forever. And what a temple it is. These are Ionic columns up here. So again, there's Abraham Lincoln. I don't know, what's behind Abraham Lincoln here? Any mysterious secrets here behind Abraham Lincoln? Looks like just some backlighting back there. And Abraham Lincoln gets to look back down the National Mall. And on the two sides of the Lincoln Memorial are the words of his two famous addresses. The Gettysburg Address over here, which is maybe the most beautiful piece of American political speech-making in history. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. And he goes on to talk about the battle that had been had at Gettysburg, and explains that it is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we should take increased devotion to the task for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these brave dead shall not have died in vain, and that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from the earth. So, beautiful writing from Abraham Lincoln. The other side of the memorial here at the Lincoln has the text of his much longer second inaugural address, which is a little bit less beautiful writing, but maybe a more significant speech, in that it is the speech through which he tries to bind up the wounds of the Civil War. He tells his fellow countrymen, basically describes the war, makes the case that it was necessary, but also that once it's over, we need to bind up our wounds, get over our differences, and reunite as a people, with malice toward none, with charity for all, with firmness in the right as God gives us to see the right. Let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and his orphan, to do all which may achieve and cherish a just and lasting peace among ourselves and with all nations. So, beautiful words there from Abraham Lincoln. By the way, we are saying hi to Lincoln here in the midst of our little interlude to our stream otherwise, through which we have been covering, I guess the night after, explosions at the FBI headquarters. So anyway, here we are at the Lincoln. How did I post a pic from the rooftop? My phone died, Dexter, because as soon as I went back, I got my battery pack. I charged the phone to 10% and then immediately went to the rooftop. Let's see. They finished destroying everything last night, says anyone about the FBI headquarters. This is a cool view, by the way, guys. Looking down the colonnade of the Lincoln Memorial, there is the Washington Monument, and you can see the Capitol building all the way about, it's like 3.5 miles or something, all the way down to the Capitol building. Mrs. Land texted him, dinner's ready. That's why we ran. Yeah, Andrew said, I'd like to see a memorial for peace. After World War III, will there be a new memorial, says Big Dog? I don't know. People hypothesize that World War III will be the end of the world. America First, hello. Yeah, I don't know that there's anything too sinister about the number of 88 steps. Jeanette wants me to touch something. Okay, we're going to touch this column here at the Lincoln Memorial. The grain and texture here. Let's see. Is there a guy behind the pillar? Your personality is interesting, says Robin. Find the secret door, says Anon. Land knows the different columns and architectural styles, generally speaking. Casey wants to find the typos. Okay, no back room that we could tell there, guys, here at the Lincoln Memorial. Let's see. I'm just trying to scroll through some of the comments here. And I wanted to point out, by the way, guys, because we're now at the backside of Lincoln Memorial, looking back over the Potomac River toward Roslyn, Virginia, which is over here, which is basically, Virginia has a lot of tall buildings because D.C., you can't have tall buildings. So a lot of the big companies, the financial industry and whatnot, in this region builds their tall buildings over in Virginia. And you can see Virginia has a gigantic skyline over there. of towers. But we are looking over the Potomac River. To the left of that skyline is Arlington Cemetery, which, doesn't look like much right now because it's dark, but this is Arlington Cemetery basically right across this bridge. And, this is Washington, D.C., of course. This was capital of the Union during the Civil War. Across that river is the Confederacy, or is Virginia, which was part of the Confederacy during the Civil War. And what is so remarkable, I always find, about the Lincoln Memorial here is right there in the heart of Arlington National Cemetery is that building, which you can just barely see here in the middle of the night. But that building was formerly part of the estate of Robert E. Lee, who, as you know, was the lead general of the Confederacy during the Civil War. So when you read the text of that second inaugural address, and Abraham Lincoln talks about the need to bind up the nation's wounds and come back together as countrymen despite having fought this incredibly brutal war together, he means it quite literally. Like, we're here literally on the Lincoln Memorial looking across the Potomac River into the estate of what would have been the Confederate general at the time. This is a brutal war, an absolutely necessary war, and a war critical to resolving the fundamental question of slavery in the country at the time. A lot of people died, and Lincoln describes it sort of as like our penance as a country that we had slavery, that we had to fight that war and go through so much turmoil over the midst of it. But once it was over, all those differences we may have shared that led to it, we needed to put behind us and move forward together as a people. And, we're in very different circumstances now, but we live in very divided times as a country. And there's a lesson in there somewhere that at some point we do share things in common as a people, and maybe some of the differences that are a little more petty we could stand to put behind us a little more often, and find the things that we can actually share as people together, because most of us just share communities and stuff, and it's a lot to bond over. Anyway, we're looking back, of course, down the National Mall toward the Washington Monument and the Capitol building. Meme. Why do I feel like I'm younger than most of this audience? That's a little concerning. You shouldn't find that, first of all, our audience is very diverse in age. Nina says she's 12. Well, Mima's 14. I get the analytics on this, and we've been doing this for 2.5 years. We've had a lot of people reach out via email, which, by the way, is landspeculation@gmail.com. If you do want to email us, landspeculation@gmail.com is the email. We have people reach out to us via email, the Discord. We've gotten to know many of our regulars. We have people of all ages. If you feel like this, you're among people of a particular age here, you would be extraordinarily surprised. Our streams over the course of the last 2.5 years have been tremendously diverse. Like people all over the world. We have people that have regularly joined us from Israel and Australia and India and Saudi Arabia and all kinds of places. Regulars from England and Scotland. And, we've had people who were with kids in high school. We've had, people in their 20s, 30s, middle-aged people in their 50s and 60s, middle-aged people in their 70s and 80s. We've had basically everything here. So don't feel like you are unusual if you are of any age. We got some loud scooter people back here. So just some Segway tour people going across DC earlier today. It's a fun thing, going on a Segway tour. Let me see. I noticed while we were going through the Lincoln Memorial there that people were seeking dating advice. If you need dating advice, I'm certainly happy to offer some dating advice. But I wasn't following all the details, so you're going to have to ask your questions again. Okay. Let me see. That dude's recording me, says Dexter. I don't know, guys. I don't mind that. I mean, I can understand why we get some looks because we come out and we do this every single night dressed in a duck suit. You might think I'm just like an ordinary guy, but we come out and we do this every night in a duck suit. So, if it ever looks like people around us are giving us weird looks, that's why. So anyway, there is the Washington Monument ahead of us. Again, the Lincoln Memorial is behind us. Here on Land Speculation on YouTube, as you hear all the crickets. All the crickets. I'm going to pop over real quick this way. The Korean War Memorial has been under construction for a long time, but we'll see if we can get a quick glimpse of it or not. Looks like it might be open and normal again. Let's see. Man, lots of crickets. Probably on their last legs. It's gonna get very cold very soon. Land is an ionic column, says Jay Luther. Walk to Antarctica. That's very difficult. You would need a boat or to be able to walk on water. Okay, well, this is the Korean War Memorial. We'll walk through real quick here. On our way back. Anyone 100% believes they were destroying evidence at the FBI last night. We're going to check back at the FBI on our way back tonight, so we'll see if there are any explosions now. Anyway, this is the Korean War Memorial. The Vietnam War Memorial is on the opposite side. Korean War, kind of a forgotten war, actually, to an extent. Very, bloody and brutal, as war tends to be. They've just rebuilt a lot of this. The trees are all new. This part of the memorial is designed to sort of evoke the jungles. About 50,000 people were killed in the Korean War. It's a lot. Dropped out of middle school, started OnlyFans. I guess we shouldn't talk about. These are the names of those who perished in the Korean War. It's a lot of names, obviously, and it goes all the way around here. I think it's actually an underrated memorial as DC memorials go. It's pretty impressive. Okay, let's see. Lisa, hi Lisa. Thanks for stopping by. Karina, I only see 3 likes. Yeah, Karina, I would refresh your video if you're only seeing 3 likes. That is probably just because it hasn't refreshed. But if anybody has not dropped a like on the video yet, I do appreciate that. Those likes help us out with YouTube. Get subscribed to our channel as well. If you're not subscribed to our channel, I do appreciate that. Check our description for links to our Discord and our Duck Fund. We have been all over Washington, D.C. tonight, checking out the FBI headquarters, where there were explosions last night, rocking the city. Very bizarre. We still don't know exactly what happened, other than that it was very, very, very bizarre. They were off the roof of the FBI headquarters every 10 to 20 seconds for several hours. There were massive cannon fire-like explosions with white smoke. And we don't know what happened. Whether it was an HVAC issue or some kind of training or testing or something far more sinister than that. We did post 2 videos last night. They seem to get a lot of attention on the internet. So we came out tonight to do a little follow-up on that. And we were at the FBI headquarters. We will check back at the FBI headquarters on our way back here tonight. We also checked out the White House tonight and have just come from the Lincoln Memorial. So an eclectic mix of stuff. If you are new to our channel, we certainly appreciate having you with us. We hope you guys will be part of our normal streams, which are eclectic in all kinds of different ways. So anyway, contemplate joining us here on a regular basis here on Land Speculation on YouTube. We're, of course, happy to have your commentary and thoughts, and I'm trying to get through as many of your comments as I can here as we walk between sights and sounds here in DC. Generally a fairly quiet night tonight. You know, we have not had the loud explosions tonight, although, you know, we always got to be on guard. Okay, let's see, guys. Arlington Cemetery, quite surreal to see in person, yes, for sure. Oh, you think the 88 steps to Lincoln Memorial has something to do with Vladimir Putin? I don't know. Could. It could. It seems unlikely considering Lincoln Memorial was built between 1922 and 1928, and Vladimir Putin was not born yet at that time. A lot of people don't realize how young these memorials are. People think they've been around for centuries. The Lincoln Memorial's only been around for less than 100 years. The Jefferson Memorial has only been around since about 1946. So a lot of the stuff in DC is actually not that old. Let's see. I would hope there are younger viewers, says MSM. You are the future. You need to seek truth. School and powers hide it from us. Can anyone explain the title, JJ? Yeah, check our last 2 streams, guys. If you're perplexed about why we are out looking for explosions or checking on explosions tonight, last night we had explosions. Okay, this is the rather unusual DC War Memorial. This is a weird, kind of odd temple thing. Pantheon-esque. I guess is built to honor those who perished specifically in World War I from the District of Columbia, but I guess is remain just as a memorial to generally those from the district who have fought in foreign wars. Is Kanye West welcome on this channel, Big Dog? Sure, I guess if he wants to stop by. Kanye West is welcome on this channel. I have some very close run-ins with Kanye West in my life. So if he stopped by, it wouldn't be... I would know what to do, I guess. I wouldn't be like hyperventilating, I guess. Okay, we gotta get out of this like dark part of DC, although it looks like there's some police lights through those trees over there. There are always police lights in DC. See the Lincoln Memorial over there behind us, Washington Memorial over this way. If you watch our videos, you will notice that there are almost always police lights in Washington, D.C. at night. And there are some right over there. This police car is making its way through these trees. Where it's going and why, I don't know. Maybe to check out the explosions. Yeah, there were explosions basically all last night. Let's see, guys. Any news on the FBI building stuff tonight, Don? We checked out the FBI building a little bit ago. We're going to check it out again. There was nothing going on at the FBI building tonight. Although there were FBI police cars parked around it. If it was some kind of mechanical issue, I guess they figured out how to deal with that, I presume. You're in a duck suit. That's awesome. Did not know that. How cool. Yeah, if you join our Discord, guys, and if you're wondering how to join our Discord, check the first link in the description is our Discord. Please feel free to join that. We'd love to have more folks on our Discord. There is a channel there where you can basically learn all about the history of our channel and ducks. We do love ducks here on Land Speculation on YouTube. Lance should do a deep dive on dating advice as bequeathius. Sounds like a very good idea. Send me your dating questions, guys. We'll do a regular dating advice call-in show. Okay. Jen says the duck suit may be a joke, but we don't know for sure, do we? Okay, once again, there is Lincoln Memorial. We're now down at the other end of the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool where normally there are lots of ducks, and right now there are not ducks, which is disappointing. And there is the World War II Memorial that we are crossing by, and the Washington Monument once again. And the Lincoln Memorial once again. Okay, guys, thanks for dropping ducks here in the chat. Of course, we always do appreciate that. This is like a midnight museum tour for all ages, says Leandra. Very cool. Yeah, you get a little bit of everything here. All right, guys. Let's see. I'm scrolling through your comments, guys, just trying to make sure I don't miss anything. I mean, all the comments are appreciated and important, but just trying to make sure I don't miss anything super critical that we desperately need to talk about at length. Someday there will be a museum to land in Columbus, Ohio, says Big Dog. Well, maybe. I think Land is a good guy. Maybe drew attention to something he wasn't supposed to. Secret Service is following. He was being recorded at the Lincoln Memorial. Maybe someone was running a concurrent live stream of our live stream by recording us. That's possible. DC won't be the capital for much longer, says Geraldo. Maybe that's what the FBI thing was about. Think Pennsylvania as your new capital. You think they're going to move the capital to Pennsylvania, like to Philadelphia? Philadelphia was the capital for about a decade. When George Washington was president, Philadelphia was the capital. All right, so we have moved on from the Lincoln Memorial. We are headed toward the Washington Monument. America wants to be Greek so bad, says Jay Luther. Well, some of that stuff is Roman. Frankly, Washington, D.C. mixes and matches its architectural styles like like we're drunk or something. We have Greek architecture and Roman architecture and French architecture, and like we got everything here, just sort of a mishmash in DC. And I'm sure there are probably those who are like architectural purists who find DC very like disturbing. Eyes on the Washington Monument. There are 2 eyes. Yeah, there are eyes on the Washington Monument. Those are there to alert planes not to crash into the Washington Monument. But, yep, 2 eyes up there at the top. They flash. You can just barely make them out there. Looks like there's a little mouth, too. Washington Monument, of course, is... How tall? How tall is the Washington Monument? I think I once asked people on our stream to rank the heights between the Washington Monument, the Eiffel Tower, and the Statue of Liberty. Take a guess. Okay, guys, let me see. Maybe you saw the T-Rex. I don't know, that T-Rex last night was very scary. I don't know, once they release the T-Rex to chase people, how they track it back down. Because otherwise you just have a city full of T-Rexes running around. And you don't. Let me see. What else do we have here? I gotta do a time check. Make sure we're not getting too far behind on the chat. We're not too far behind. Sometimes we get very behind in the comments. And that's not fair to you guys. Right through these trees, by the way, is the White House. You can't even really see it because it is dark. It is dark, but that is the White House right there. And you can tell because the flagpole is above it. But with the lights turned off at the White House, what is normally a pretty beautiful vista of the White House is kind of just nothing. And by the way, since we didn't go over there, we can see it just a little bit through here. But that is the Jefferson Memorial poking out. The Jefferson Memorial looks directly at the White House. Jefferson Memorial looks directly at the White House. So that Thomas Jefferson can keep an eye on whether or not the president is adhering to the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. Okay. Are people still dating in this day of age of COVID-19, says Big Dog? I have heard that dating in this day and age is very difficult. People don't seem to meet online or people don't seem to meet in person anymore. People seem to meet mostly through apps, but there are apparently like 1 million apps. And It's really hard. So I don't know if anybody's been going through the dating experience. Has that been your experience? Is it really hard? More flashing police lights over there. Let's see. Anyone is 59. Somebody wants to see the duck suit? No, that would take away from the magic. Okay, guys, let's see. Mar-a-Lago is the new White House. Mar-a-Lago kind of was like the second White House there during the Trump term. So we're here basically at the Washington Monument. Towering over us here, the moon is like right next to it. I always wonder what these other people are doing out at 3 in the morning at the monuments. Because they probably wonder what I'm doing out at 3 in the morning. I don't think they're doing the same thing I'm doing. Anyway, this is the plaza of the Washington Monument. And let's take a little feel here of the Washington Monument. Give it a nice little stroke. The Capitol building, of course, is ahead of us. Godseed has an evil plan to take over the world because you are a supervillain. That sounds very sinister. There's the Capitol building off in the distance. Surprisingly far away. Deceptively far away, perhaps. But it is down there. It's a ghost town in D.C. Well, it's a ghost town in the National Mall. We'll get back into the city here in a moment. We're going to check back at the FBI building and just see in case anything crazy is going on there. We don't think so. We don't think anything crazy is going on there, but there were explosions there last night. Taller than my house. How tall is the Washington Monument? Well, that's probably true, depending on what your house is. Let's see. Does the Washington Monument represent a man's private part, Lisa? I mean, you can draw your own conclusions, Lisa. I don't know that that was the intent, but, you know. Do I always do videos at night? Not always, but we do a lot of videos at night because that's the time I can actually find to stream. I do have other things going on in my life. And sometimes, like after midnight Eastern time is usually when we stream. But sometimes we come out early. Sometimes we do other kind of random things in the afternoons. It kind of depends. If you get subscribed to our channel, you can find out. And sometimes we post other kinds of shorts. You know, we don't always just do live streams, although we do mostly live streams. Let's see. Discordian Popes is 555 feet. That is correct. That is the height of the Washington Monument here. Congratulations on getting the right answer. 555 feet tall. Jay Luther's guessing the Eiffel Tower, the Washington Monument, the Statue of Liberty. That is the correct order. Eiffel Tower is approximately 988 feet tall-ish. Statue of Liberty is much shorter. Okay, let me see what else we got here. It is an obelisk, yes. DC is laid out in a goat head shape. The mouth is the White House. You know, I'd never really thought about the lower bowl of DC being shaped like a goat head, but it kind of is. It's not intentionally laid out that way for any reason other than that that's how the topography kind of laid it out. DC's kind of a... It's here in the swamp. Got more flashing police lights over here. That's all you get here at night, DC. Flashing police lights. Anywhere and everywhere. Wonder what they were doing on top of the building. It says skeptical skeletons. Destroying hard drives, target practice, show of force. I suppose those are all possibilities for what was going on top of the FBI headquarters last night. Or it was just an HVAC malfunction. But we don't know for sure. Maybe they had that evidence destruction machine just going at full tilt. It's very possible. All right. Blowing up underground tunnels, Susan? I suppose that's possible, but they were doing it like on the top of the building. I keep hearing what are probably rats, but I've yet to actually catch one on camera tonight. We have in the past caught DC rats. Not like caught them, but captured pictures of them. Oh, there goes something. Was that a rat? Oh, we got something going there in the trash can. I don't know, were those rats? Couldn't tell. Those look like tasty trash cans there, overflowing. Kichenga? Hi, Kichenga. Welcome to our stream here tonight. Let me see. All right, we're gonna get back out into the actual National Mall here. We're kind of walking by the Smithsonian's. Some kind of party going on here at the Smithsonian. Is it possible somebody's still having a party in the Smithsonian at 3 in the morning? I guess it is. DC was laid up by Freemasons. Symbolism in everything. We have talked about the Freemasons in that era. It's not super surprising that DC was laid up by Freemasons. Some people were really suspicious of it, having been that way. There's no particular reason to be suspicious of the fact that, at that time, that was one of the few ways you could actually have access to books and other very learned people was to join societies like that. So it's not surprising that if you had a bunch of very learned people, many of them were probably part of a fraternity like that. Okay, we're going to do a little stretch to the National Mall here. We're going to check back at the FBI headquarters to see, just in case anything is going strangely at the FBI here yet tonight. If land is lucky, does that make him a lucky ducky? Yeah, I suppose it does. So, once again, we've been all over tonight. It's been an interesting night. Nothing particular to this point. I don't know, we briefly had a little flame out there on the stream, so I hope I'm still with you guys. Sometimes that happens. I don't think it's due to lack of service. We're in the heart of a major city. But sometimes something will jam a signal in downtown DC. And I don't know what it is. Gutsy wants to create my own secret society with blackjack and hookers. Sounds like you just want a casino. Doesn't really sound like a secret society. It sounds like a casino. Let's see. What do we want to come back in? Maybe we'll do that here. Anyway, that is the National Mall. I'm going to take one more gander if we can by the FBI. See if there's anything crazy going on at the FBI. Okay. You're a brave man to be walking around DC at this time of night. Praying for your safety, says Lisa. Well, once again, guys, if anything crazy happens, you are our eyes and our ears. So you guys got to keep as alert as we do on the streets of DC here in the middle of the night. How many miles have I walked tonight so far? We've been streaming for 2 hours and 16 minutes to this point. So that probably is about 7-ish miles, maybe 7.5, maybe 8. We walk at a pretty rapid clip. The average human walking pace is about 20 minutes per mile. We probably walk a little faster than that. I don't think we get to 4 miles an hour, but we probably are close to that. So, might be somewhere between 7 and 9 would be my guess in terms of miles. Land must have had more than 32% battery when he went out tonight. Progress, says Zulu. We took the battery pack tonight, guys. Just in case. But of course, when you go prepared, stuff doesn't happen. This is kind of one of those laws of nature that it's the one night when you don't come prepared with extra equipment that you run into something really crazy. Sunshine is also asking, why did we run yesterday? We've explained this a couple times tonight, but we didn't run. The phone ran out of battery, and I think it just looks that way because we were, checking the phone and taking a couple of steps, and I don't know. It does look like we were running. It was either that or the FBI unleashed their giant T-Rex after us, and it chased us down the street. But luckily we ran, so we were able to get away safely. Okay, let me see if I go around this way. That'll help us out. So we're now on Constitution Avenue, which is one of the major federal boulevards in DC. In fact, to our left is the Internal Revenue Service, IRS headquarters. A lot of people don't like the IRS. On the other hand, the IRS is the only agency of the government that collects money. Like, all the other agencies love to spend money. The IRS actually takes money in. Land boogies. How am I prepared, Robin? As in, like, a battery pack that would have allowed us to stream for longer last night. Sunshine just got here. Well, Sunshine, it's good to have you with us here tonight. Is there a guy in the bushes? You never know. I mean, you'd hope not, but DC down here by the National Mall has a lot of ice cream trucks. Obviously, we're on so late that we can't hear them, but normally when we're down here during the day, there's a lot of ice cream truck activity. It's kind of an odd juxtaposition to the memorials, frankly. It was the T-Rex, I'm telling you. Yes, it very well might have been. Pretty quiet here on Constitution Avenue. You've given us a great walking tour, and I'm definitely a subscriber. Your style is a cross between Nancy Drew and Steve Lookner. Well, Dexter, I'm glad to have you with us. Please don't be a stranger. So we come on and stream even when there's not crazy stuff going on in the world. Oh, come on. All right. Did you find out what it was that was going on? So Sunshine, no, Sunshine, I still have no definitive idea. And as far as I can tell, while our stream generated a huge amount of attention last night and on the internet today, I've seen literally no other actual reporting or original coverage on it, which is strange. Right now, the IRS is taking our money, giving much of it to Ukraine, says Big Dog. Well, they're taking it. I don't know that they are giving it to Ukraine. You know, somebody else in the government has decided to allocate money from within the national treasury and send it to Ukraine. And a lot of people aren't very happy about that. Heathen screams for ice cream. Okay. Chocolate chip guy. That's a good flavor. You know, you go to the ice cream shop, you get like one scoop of chocolate chip, like the double chocolate chip, another scoop of mint chip. That's a very nice little combination. You get the very sort of rich and then the very fresh kind of mixed together. It's a very, very, very good mix on the ice creams. Okay. Lisa, can we find a police officer and ask about the last night? You know, Lisa, people said they called last night to the DC police, to the DC fire department, and to the FBI, and none of them would say anything. You know, and the people at the FBI apparently insisted that, you know, no matter what you thought you heard, that nothing was happening. So, you know, either that's like it was no big deal, or they don't want you to know. And I don't know which is the right answer. Anyway, this is the FBI headquarters. So we said we're going to stop by and check on it again. This is it. I mean, this is the FBI headquarters. This is the corner where last night those explosions were happening. Up there on the rooftop. So the top floor of the building has a lot of lights on underneath the area where they happened. But other than that, the FBI headquarters is very quiet. There are still a few FBI police cars around the perimeter of the building. There are no explosions, the best we can tell tonight. Nothing that we've heard. By the way, there's the Capitol building looking down Pennsylvania Avenue again. Pretty vista. So, you know, that's the deal here. No explosions that we can hear or see tonight. No smoke. A few police cars. Otherwise, just a very quiet scene here at the FBI. The ground floor of the FBI headquarters is very dreary. You know, there's like, it's just blank walls. So, you know, it's basically right over our heads here. Clouds, no smoke. Someone put the sounds to the sounds from 9/11, showed the similarity, says sunshine. You know, if there's something sinister like that going on, Sunshine, I can't answer that for you. There's the main entrance. Like if you were going to be a visitor to the FBI, that's where you would go in. In fact, I think there's that scene in National Treasure where Nicolas Cage goes to visit somebody in the FBI, and it's like through this door. Anyway, there's American flags. Interesting. I didn't realize they had different star configurations on the flags here. Like, these are not 50-star flags. There's a American flag with a star pattern on it, and the rest have kind of all mix and match versions of numbers of stars. And I don't know the full story on that. Anyway, that is the corner again of the building where those explosions were happening last night. We're about as close to the FBI building as we can get. You can hear in the background there's a fountain in the main courtyard of the FBI headquarters. You can kind of hear that rustling behind us. So, you know, that's the sounds here of the FBI building. So there is the, I always want me to touch things. There's the side of the FBI building here in DC. Yeah, you guys can hear it now. It's like, it's pitch silent. Like, it is really silent. Like, more than normal, actually. Like, it is really silent tonight. And there's like, the entrances are just completely dark. It's the J. Edgar Hoover FBI building. There's some clanking up here. I don't know what that clanking is. So, more shots of the FBI building here. Including that cantilevered part right there. Your visit video is also going viral on TikTok. Lots of theories. Looks ominous, says Karina. It's really ominously silent right now, is what I can say about tonight. Early admins at this building, most field agents are moved to Virginia, I was told, says Geronimo Cat. It's not enough data to draw a conclusion yet, says Leandra. Sunshine, now I want ice cream. Yeah, guys, do that combination I was just telling you about. I would highly recommend it. Those primary explosions were coming from the same place each time, same spot. The smoke steam came a few of those times. I thought it seemed like there was some extra retorts. They didn't all sound identical. The smoke plumes were not all the same size. Like the idea that this was just a sort of regular pattern occurring from a pipe. Like they were all a little different, and some of them were more whooshy and wheezy. Other ones were sort of more cannon-like. They were all a little bit different. The spacing was not identical between them. So, you know, I guess that sort of goes against the idea of it being just completely mechanized. Anyway, you know, this is the exterior here of the FBI headquarters. Look at these two benches. This is like a very romantic little bench configuration here. If you wanted to, you know, sit across from somebody, have a very intimate conversation. Zulu can see from the fourth floor, shoes untied. You know, got a little like, duck feet. Oh, it's like a sledgehammer breaking into the vault. Oh, so somebody's like breaking into the vault to a vault maybe they weren't supposed to be in. That could be. That could be. They're watching you, says guy. I have no doubt. I have no doubt about that. I mean, some of the technologies they have and their ability to surveil the streets around them. Yeah, I mean, that's like scary stuff, frankly. Big Dog, I have a pint of Cherry Garcia if anybody wants some ice cream. Yeah, Cherry Garcia is pretty good as far as Ben & Jerry's flavors go. I think it's a pretty good one. Mankind likes the flag with the 76 on it. Oh, now that my finger... That's a good point, guy. I shouldn't have left my fingerprints there on the side of the building. Now they have them. I'm sure they already had them, though. There is a link to the story of the flags and banners of the FBI building on Discord. Okay, well, appreciate that, Jeanette. Of course, that's the official story. Jay Luther might not come back to the mainland after the election. Okay, Leandra's doing the coffee and dark chocolate. Okay, that's a lot of rich ice cream, though. I like both those flavors. It's just, like, I like something a little bit lighter. I'm always a big fan of, like, black raspberry chip type flavors, but not if it's too candified. It's got to be, like, the rich stuff. I'm going to watch your other streams since Godseed before it's copyright stricken. Well, it's not going to get copyright stricken. I mean, it might get removed, but it's not going to be because of copyright. There's nothing copyrighted in it. You know, there are countries around the world where you're not allowed to film, like, federal government buildings. The United States is not one of those countries. But that, you know, they get a little paranoid about that, certainly in other countries. Now, federal government in D.C., they're not supposed to, you know, like, you're allowed to film the federal government in D.C. Now, I one time did take a picture. It was years ago, and it was just a regular picture. I took it at the State Department. And I had some State Department police officers come out and basically, like, stopped me, made me show them the picture I had just taken on my camera, and then made me delete it right in front of them. Now, I didn't take it for any particular reason. It wasn't a picture of any particular significance. I didn't mind deleting it. Like, it was no skin off my back to do that, but that was not legal what they did. I mean, they had no grounds to tell me to delete that photo. It was like, I don't even know what the hell they thought I was taking a photo of, unless they knew something I didn't. Two clangs were almost intriguing. Red wine and chocolate. Yeah, at least that's good stuff. I assume you don't mean ice cream flavors. I assume you just mean actual red wine and actual chocolate. So again, it's very late at night here, as we are adjacent to the FBI headquarters. Did anything blow up? I don't believe anything blew up. No, I cannot say that definitively. Anon thinks there might be actual FBI in the chat. That's possible. If anybody from the FBI is actually watching the video tonight, you know, we're just here as innocent bystanders trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Why there were hours of loud explosions. The FBI building is so weird. It's a giant, like, moat around the outside. It's like it is really heavily fortified. Giant concrete fortress. And it was weird last night. You know, you guys heard how loud those explosions were. You went to the other side of the building, you could barely hear them. That building really muffles noise. I don't know if there's a reason for that. Oh, Jay Luther's talking about the Hop in Asheville. Asheville has a couple of really good chocolate bars in the downtown. Green Asheville, I recommend them. Otherwise, you can hear, guys, how quiet the rest of the downtown is. This is like, if last night there was noise, it's like Tonight, somebody like went out of their way to make it really especially quiet. You can see these giant security planters. They didn't even bother putting plants in them to try to pretend. These are just big planter boxes full of gravel. And it's not even like loose gravel. This is like, it's like gravel laced with cement, so that it's just, these are like just gigantic fortress things. Like, you could drive a massive vehicle into these and do no kind of damage to them. Just sheer rock. Someone tweeted it was a steam vent releasing pressure. Is this something you've heard before? I can buy the premise, MSM. Yeah, I think that's probably the most likely possibility. Steam vent releasing pressure. Okay, so those signs say that this building is protected by video surveillance. They're surveilling us, and here we are. What's with the clangs? I don't know what the clangs were, guys. They've trapped the T-Rex, and it's trying to get out. That could be. That's probably what those fences are there to protect, is the T-Rex. It was definitely intentional, otherwise the fire department would have shown up. It's an upside-down bike, the twisted wheel. I was there last night, too. They probably already know what was your 4th birthday cake flavor. I know the answer to that, too. It's something we can talk about someday when they're interviewing me. Do you guys remember, like, I don't know, I used to get these birthday cakes that were like, each year they'd sort of decorate the top of the cake with like a little image of something I was passionate about that time. I did different little images every year. Like, I've got a pretty good memory of that kind of stuff. 3 identical vans. Hey, everything's suspicious if you look at it suspiciously. Rich. Hi, Rich. By the way, guys, you are watching Land Speculation here on YouTube. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us here tonight. We are, once again, checking out the FBI headquarters. You can hear that fountain again in the background. If anybody has not dropped a like or a subscribe on the video tonight, I do appreciate that. Those likes help us out with YouTube. So, you know, drop a like if you have not. Please get subscribed to our channel if you have not. I appreciate that too. And then, as always, check our description for links to our Discord and our Duck Fund. You're certainly welcome to join our Discord if you have not already. We're happy to have more people on our Discord. And we'd love to have more people on our Discord to chat through issues of the day and solve mysteries like this. There's also a random glove in the middle of the street. Is that a clue? I don't know. Random glove. Anyway, drop a like, drop a subscribe, join our Discord, contribute to our Duck Fund. If anybody, you know, it's like not the easiest thing to come out and stream for several hours every night in the middle of the night. So I appreciate contributions to the Duck Fund. Those help us have the incentive to keep coming out and streaming every night, so we certainly do appreciate that. It also sometimes helps us buy bread for the ducks. If we haven't gone out and seen the ducks in a long time, but we used to actually use that money to fund bread for the ducks. Lisa had to delete pictures of the Navy SEALs training. I could see they maybe wouldn't like that. I don't know that that's an illegal thing to take a picture of, but I guess they can tell you to do that. Anything you can see from public property is you can photograph. Google is photographing us all the time. That's true. Dexter, you saw that it must have been someone else's shadow, Dexter. Yes, probably. If it wasn't a duck, it was not our shadow. Sometimes we have people that walk very closely behind us. And yeah, it's a little weird sometimes. Special Agent Jay Luther is assuring us there was no explosion. Where were the looky-loos, says Robin. Tonight there were no looky-loos. Last night there were a few looky-loos, pretty much all clustered around the next corner over, which was the corner where all the noise was happening. You know, maybe they weren't looky-loos at all. Maybe they were plants. I don't know. Aliens. It could have been aliens. Could have been them like fighting a little war against aliens up there on the roof. That's always a possibility. Steam vent releasing pressure is a lie, says Geraldo. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. Zelensky likes the green scheme. Is the insinuation that the Ukraine war might be a fake? I don't think the Ukraine war is a fake. How much did the T-Rex cost? That's a good question. That's your tax dollars at work. Somebody had to create the T-Rex, and then they had to unleash the T-Rex. Like train it first too. Training a T-Rex has got to be expensive. I don't think they're supposed to be that bright. People in those vans, as God sees. There very well might be. Here's the National Archives, by the way. You know, it's interesting. You have the Department of Justice, the IRS, the National Archives, and the FBI all right next to each other. Sort of oddly convenient positioning of buildings, given that, like, literally right now, we have a Department of Justice investigation and raids by the FBI on Donald Trump's offices for things that he didn't turn over to the National Archives. It's like a lot of very convenient buildings clustered closely together. This is, by the way, we're here at the U.S. Navy Memorial, which has its fountains on. Run from the glove. Michael Jackson was missing a glove. I don't know. It was OJ's glove. Random gloves usually mean Tom Hanks is nearby. Glove, all that's left of the last T-Rex meal. That's very possible. Why only one glove? Might have been a one-handed person, big dog. Peas are better than bread for ducks. TP, yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, there's a whole sort of duck nutrition rant we could go on. There's a sort of mythology about bread and ducks, and anyway, yeah, got the point. Grant says black and white car twice. Geronimo's having a good time. Could be OJ's Club, PCJ3. Yeah, very well could be. The CBS did an episode last night on the FBI and did not even mention the explosion. Yeah, guys, if you want real reporting, you got to subscribe to Land Speculation here on YouTube. And if you want us to become bigger than CBS, you got to drop likes here on the stream. Will I be running at the end of this stream, big dog, like last night? Probably not. We'll see. We'll see. Is that like a ship's mast? Yeah, these flags are designed to be like a ship's mast here at the Navy Memorial. They all have tunnels connecting them. It's very possible that they do. It is very convenient, isn't it? Yeah, it is convenient. Crazy tunnels under this street under Pennsylvania. I mean, it's Pennsylvania Avenue, guys. Like, it is the Pennsylvania Avenue, like right here in front of us. The Saudi embassy is not on this block, no. Saudi embassy is actually very close to the Watergate. That is a suspicious location positioning. The Saudi embassy is right across the street from the Watergate. I am 10 minutes late on the comments. Well, no, I'm only 1 minute late. Maybe they were blasting tunnels, but they were blasting they're doing the explosions on the roof, guys. Maybe you just heard them on the roof and actually it was happening underground. That's possible. Grand's giving me a yes. It's a butt slapping glove, says he. That's possible. Gail is watching from New Zealand. Well, Gail, welcome to Washington, D.C. here in the middle of the night. Overhead tunnels, that could be. You're building a gondola between the buildings. New Zealand, good. We are looking for a new prime minister. If anyone knows anyone want to be the prime minister of New Zealand? Seems like a long flight to get over there, though. When I get the right answer, the channel will get a strike. But one strike won't shut the channel down. 3 strikes will shut the channel down. New Zealand is beautiful, says Faye. Lance Miller. Hi, Lance Miller. Oh, man. What have we learned on tonight's stream, guys? Have we learned anything? Any rats? Mods, we should pick a winner if we can. Did we not pick a winner tonight? If not, we should pick a winner. Leandro, this is the first time I've been to DC. Yeah, it's like being right here because it's so raw and real, isn't it? If you want to move to DC, you can lease an office suite here for a reasonable rent. I'm sure that rent is not very reasonable right there. I'm gonna call bullshit on that. Let's see, we have any rats here? DC's expensive, by the way. That's the point. Jay Luther learned that the FBI did not blow up. The FBI building is creepy, says Godsend. Geronimo says, Land is awesome with live videos. Thank you. Leandra Grace is the winner tonight. Congratulations, Leandra, on your victory, if you are still here. Final, can you do a walking tour of the subway? Record it and then post it. Yeah, it's going to be closed right now, isn't it? Let me check one thing real quick on that. We have done some live footage of a little bit into the subway here in DC. Call it the Metro in DC. Very squeaky squeaky escalators. That would be like in the running for top 2 or 3 most unbearable noises ever on our streams. Would be the subway escalators, the Metro escalators here in DC, or that overhead train bridge in DC was pretty awful as well. Yeah, Leandra, it's like, congratulations on the victory. We got 131 people watching, and you won, so it's pretty impressive. Oh, we can't go explore the escalators over there because we have a bunch of people, construction worker people, guarding them, very conveniently positioned to prevent us from going down into the Metro escalators. But we have before. I don't know why they won't let us tonight. All right. Yeah, if you win tonight, like, you can celebrate that. You can gloat about it. If you've never won on the Land Speculation live streams, it's hard to explain the feeling. You got to keep back and watch. Keep coming back and watching our future streams to potentially win on a future stream. DC has rental scooters. Yes, they do, and they're everywhere. In fact, a lot of people think that the National Mall is the right scale for scooters. You get a lot of scooter people down at the National Mall in the summer, especially kids, because the distances are pretty far. So they are very popular here. Of course, we have proven them wrong. We've proved the National Mall is the perfect scale for walking. 10 miles a day. I feel so honored to be part of this auspicious occasion. Yeah. Well, we're glad to have you with us. Yeah, join the Discord. Somebody's posting the Discord here in the chat. Am I a marathon runner, Geronimo? Oh, Geronimo, you know, the things I do during the hours of the day when we're not streaming are a mystery, aren't they? Thanks for the tour in the chat. 2:30 a.m. It's later than that here. It's 3:30 a.m. here. I guess you're an hour and 7 minutes behind us, Guy. Jay Luther wants us to do our Bible. We're going to do them, Jay Luther. Don't worry. We're going to do the Bible streams. I haven't forgotten. They're coming. We're going to do some Bible streams. The rainy night streams are very spooky, says Vinyl. Sometimes we get rain. By the way, guys, I always don't talk about it when we're walking by them, but have you guys been observing how many homeless people there are on the streets of Washington? This was not like this pre-pandemic. It is everywhere. And if you go back and watch our couple streams from last night, as we walk in front of the IRS and Department of Justice buildings, there is a huge number of homeless people on some of the benches there. Downtown DC at night has a ton of homeless people out on the streets. Endurance, it seems to be your thing. We do try to have some endurance. Lesko, what time did it start happening? The explosions last night happened pretty much all night. In terms of what time our stream tonight started happening, it was 2 hours and 55 minutes ago. Do I stream during snowstorms? I have. Yeah, we did like a whole winter where we streamed outside every day of the winter, and my hands almost fell off. So we started doing indoor streams to, make that easier on us. And that actually has opened up the door to us doing a whole bunch of new kinds of content, including our normal evening deep dives, which, those are generally more highly viewed than our outdoor walking streams, just because the audio quality is better. And we can sort of prepare material and stay on subject a little bit more. But we do a mix of both, so sometimes you'll catch us outside, sometimes you'll catch us inside. When there's breaking news and we can show you something, we will try to do that. California has more homeless people than DC. I think that's very possible. By the way, these two buildings here, one of them contains an escape room, and the other contains something very, very, very secret and very sinister in it. And I won't tell you what, because I'm not at liberty to say. Was there any open reporting of the explosions last evening? Kind of bizarre, it was not reported by the community. Yeah, Arthur, I, as far as I can tell, other than our video, I have not observed anything in terms of reporting. A lot of chatter about what we posted, what we recorded, but nothing else. Did not make it into any actual news outlets or anything like that. Have I ridden in one of these scooters before? I don't typically, Heathen. Federal Explosion Management Association, FEMA. Fuck those homeless American people. Ukraine needs our money to protect freedom halfway around the world, says Jay Luther. I assume you're speaking facetiously. Look at these two scooters just having a good time together. Like a kind of romantic evening for the scooters. No police calls. Leandra, there were lots of people that called the police last night on those explosions. And, the people who have mentioned that they did to us basically said that the police and the fire department basically just kind of gave them the runaround and eventually transferred them to the FBI. And the FBI basically said, whatever you think you're hearing, it's not happening. And, that's a weird response. Arthur says suppressed for sure. There's nothing other than Land's video being passed around, says Geraldo. Even more suspect than if no reports, says Gail. Zigzag. Hi, Zigzag. MSM won't report reality, they report fantasy and make-believe. Scooter date? Very late at night for a scooter date. I think by now you'd done whatever you're going to do tonight and be in bed. We need to ask Christopher Ray, says Geronimo. If anyone's got him on speed dial, let me know. FBI answers to no one, Lava says, yeah, that's probably true. They were killing aliens. It's just blowing up aliens every 10 or 20 seconds. Giant collection of aliens sitting there. Just like, tonight's the big execution. Genocide of the aliens. We're just going to take them up there and one by one every 20 seconds, just throw them in the explosion machine. That's possible. Hopefully Tucker Carlson will pick up on our footage. I don't know. Send it to him. So you guys probably, he's got an email. I guess you could send it to him. See if he wants to. No news of the explosions on CNN or Fox or anywhere else. Yeah, Look, even if they were something completely innocuous, it is weird there was no press release, there was no clarification, there was no statement on the FBI's Twitter account saying, don't worry, it's just a HVAC issue. Like, again, there are lots of residences in downtown DC, and it scared the bejesus out of people. Those two scooters are making love. They'll make a skateboard together, says Mankind. Nathan, there was explosions in DC. Yeah, Nathan, go watch our last two videos from last night. There were several hours of explosions at the FBI headquarters last night. Do I air every night? Most nights during the regular week, yeah, we try to, Gail. Like Monday through Thursday, we try to stream most nights. We're trying to figure out this new post-COVID reality on the fly. It's, ever since things have opened up, time is a lot tighter. We started doing these a couple years ago in the midst of the pandemic. Felt like there was infinite free time, and now there's just not. Oh, Tucker can ask Christopher Wray about them. Okay. Was the boom over by where the missile launcher is on the roof of the building, says Vera. It was on that one corner. I don't know where they have their missile launcher on the roof of the FBI building. But it seems plausible. Gail, thank you for subscribing. If anybody has not subscribed tonight, please do subscribe on our channel. If anybody has not dropped a like on the video, I do appreciate the likes on the video. Those help us out as well. As always, those help us out with YouTube. Consider it at the very least. It's a lot of effort. You gotta press that finger down on the mouse. If it's on your phone, just a little tap. Anyway. We're 9 likes away from 200. Can we get there? Seems like a long stretch. Tactical nuclear weapons used against the FBI episode. Your videos are on Telegram. That's where I found you. Gran, well, thanks. Spread the word, guys. I mean, we're on, almost every night, and we cover a lot of different interesting things. It's always a little different. Sometimes it's newsy, sometimes it's original stuff, sometimes it's in-depth coverage of some critical event. Again, we did like 2 hours on Epstein. You guys, you might find our stuff interesting. If you don't, it's all right. You can always reach out. landspeculation@gmail.com is the email address if people want to send us thoughts or suggestions or criticisms or whatever. You can also get in touch with me directly on our Discord. So join our Discord if you have not. Appreciate that. The explosions, Daniel says, sounded electrical to me. Electrical. Okay, interesting. FBI can't seem to comment on anything these days. How long till the last explosion, says Austin? I don't know when the last one happened. It clearly was after we stopped streaming and before the workday started today, because I can guarantee you, if the workday had started and those were still going on, that would have been a major story. Potato guns. Okay. Did I hear any voices coming from the rooftop, Chip? No, Chip, really didn't. I mean, there's so much ambient noise in DC at night. I'd say I didn't really hear anything. No, not like that. Trump says, come on, let's make it 200. We're sitting at 198 right now. There's gotta be 2 more likes floating around out there. But I don't know. Maybe not. How long before the next boom goes off? I don't know. I don't know, guys. Sometimes we talk about the planet Uranus for hours and hours. Is fine. That has happened, Vinyl. Attila, the explosions are what is to come with the FBI. They are done and finished. Wow. Tactical nuclear potato guns. Okay, guys, yeah, thanks for all those likes. You guys got us over the hump. I really appreciate that, guys. Mar, just watching yesterday. Decided to follow you and you're live. Well, thanks, Mar. Yeah, we are alive here, at least for a couple more minutes. What's the situation, Righteous? Well, we've been out tracking things tonight. Watch our last two videos from last night for the explosions at the FBI. It's very suspicious, very strange. We're out tonight checking on it. All quiet on the Western Front tonight at the FBI. Is the FBI have a firing range on the roof? I don't know, Lava. Kind of sounded like it. Sean. Still tripping balls after 4 hours of this acid ride. Marjo. Excited about our getting to 200. Yeah, appreciate that, guys. Very much appreciate all those likes. For sure. Jeanette is posting the last video link here in the chat. The whole of America's the FBI's fire. Oh, jeez. Okay. Guys, it is like really late, and I have to get like a little bit of sleep tonight. So I think I'm gonna like start to wind us down here for the night. We can stream live for long periods, but we can't stream live forever. But we hope you guys, I mean, earnestly, if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe to our channel. We are on very frequently during the week. We'd love to have more of you a part of our little community here. This has been a very unusual couple of nights here in DC. And, you know, I know people are digging around earnestly trying to figure out what was going on. You know, we've talked about it now for 2 videos last night and 1 video tonight. So we provide a lot of the commentary we can provide on it. I'll continue to try to monitor stuff, and if crazy stuff happens, I will try to, you know, show you. In the meantime, though, you know, we'll continue to prepare other content. We got a lot of very interesting stuff we were planning to do in the next several nights and weeks anyway. So please do get subscribed. Please do drop likes on our videos if you have not. Please tell your friends that we exist. If you think there are people that would find our channel interesting, tell them about us, please. I certainly do appreciate all the engagement in the chat here, for sure. I always appreciate the work of our moderators, too. Really good mods, and they do a nice job here, and we appreciate the, you know, friendly chat. Obviously, we're open to pretty much all views and perspectives here, as long as they are expressed respectfully. Join our Discord if you're not already on our Discord. That is linked in the description. The Discord is open to anyone. Please feel free to join that. When we're not streaming, it's a great place to keep chatting and, you know, do other fun stuff. Lots of stuff on our Discord. We also have our Duck Fund. That is our PayPal link in the description if people want to help support the stream. We really appreciate those contributions too. Any amount is welcome. Somebody sent me $1 last night. So, you know, somebody could send me 50 cents. Or you can send me like, nobody's ever sent me $500,000, but if somebody ever sends me $500,000, you will for sure get a shout out on the stream. Okay, thanks guys for the nice thoughts here. Yeah, and if you want to keep chatting tonight, you know, I'm sure there'll be people chatting on the Discord, so please go do that. Oh, you're in Sweden, Marjo? I told you guys, we get people from everywhere. Like, we have a really diverse audience, all ages, geographies around the world. All right. Sean's going to send us things better than money. Should I be concerned, Sean? Okay, guys. I think I got to wrap us up. It's super late. But hope this was interesting to you. Hope this, I don't know, it didn't really solve any of the mysteries of last night, but hopefully it was interesting to see some of DC anyway. And we'll keep trying to monitor things. So, I think that's about it for now. All right, guys. Do all that stuff I just said. Like, subscribe, Discord, Duck Fund, email, all that stuff. So, we'll be back. Don't be strangers. We got streams coming up. Stay tuned. For now, this is land that ain't just speculation. And I hope you guys all have a good night.